Welcome back, you guys. I'm FC. This is Blue Lions TV, and today I'm here to bring you guys a news daily video. I'll be focusing on the latest surrounding Jadon Sancho, Samuel Chukwueze, and Jorginho and his future. Could the player be signing for Juventus in this window? I'm here to break down all the stories for you guys, and just before I get into things, as you can tell from the thumbnail, it's a bit different compared to the standard thumbnails I use for news daily videos, and I've done this to signify that I will be going a bit more in depth with these stories. They will be a lot more focused compared to the other stories as well, so I hope you guys do enjoy, and I also hope you enjoy the OneFootball app. I know that a lot of you guys still have not downloaded the OneFootball app. What are you honestly waiting for? I'm going to explain to you a useful feature I use every single time. It is the follow feature, and now with the season about to return back, now with us understanding some of the targets we're now focusing our attentions on, the feature is so handy to stay up to date to get the latest alerts and news surrounding every possible transfer target. It's useful, it's handy, it's convenient, you guys. Try it out for yourselves. You'll find a link below in the description below. And of course, I know that a lot of you guys already know to hit that like button. But for some of you guys that needs a little bit of encouragement, today I want to get over 1,500 likes. So if you like today's video, you guys know what to do. Without wasting no more time, we get straight in with the first story today, and it's in regards to the latest surrounding Jadon Sancho and Samuel Chukwueze. Now, this story was broken by Goal.com, and I feel like their reporting game has definitely got a lot stronger over the past few years. They're reporting that Jadon Sancho has told Borussia Dortmund he won't be signing a contract extension. His contract does expire in 2022. I feel like this news implies that Sancho is willing to move in this window. Dortmund want to make as much money as possible from the sale of the player. Remember, his contract expires in literally 2 more years, and if a sale does not happen in this next summer window, it means that the price and transfer value for Sancho the next year is going to be a lot less. Sancho has expressed his desire to one day return back to the Premier League. However, the only stumbling block comes from Borussia Dortmund, who aren't going to budge on their 100 million valuation for the player. Now, when it comes to the signing of Sancho, we have competition from Manchester United. However, it seems like their stance surrounding the player may have kind of dropped off a bit, with their owner speaking about the responsibility that clubs need to have in this current window. Is spending lavishly in this current situation where we're having the pandemic the best thing to do morally? Is it the best PR move to make? However, you guys, if you're asking me, I kind of feel like this is Man United trying to save face. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. The reality is, it's looking very unlikely that Man United are going to secure Champions League football for the next season. And obviously, that's going to put off Jadon Sancho, who's already expressed his desire to be playing European football for whatever club he signs for. Honestly, the only chance that United have to sign Sancho is by overspending, inflating the fee, and offering incredibly ridiculous wages to try and entice the player to come to Old Trafford. Now, with us, I feel like it's a completely different story. We all know that we are in a very good financial situation, from the player sales of Morata, Eden Hazard. We have sellable assets in your Bakayokos, your Jorginos, and so many players. And we've also been very vocal when it comes to showing our support for the NHS. We've set that precedent. We've set that example during this pandemic to really show you how football clubs are playing their part to help out in the community. I feel like all this good PR could really minimize and mitigate any potential backlash if we potentially try to sign the player. Let's also remember too that we have a much better opportunity at securing Champions League football next season. And on top of that, we have a clear, distinctive style of football, which is attacking, fluid, and exciting. And these are all the things we can offer Sancho to entice him to sign for us in the next window. We are not the same to Man United. I just want to get that straight. I know that we've seen so many reports suggesting that United are leading the race to sign the player. I know they've been a lot more vocal in the press when it comes to showing their interests, but by now, you guys, we need to understand how this club operates. I think the signing of Hakim Ziyech really illustrates how we do all our business behind the scenes. We ain't trying to be too vocal, we're trying to do everything behind in the shadows, you guys, and most times it pays off for us. Now, the only stumbling block when signing Sancho, of course, is his enormous wages and his enormous transfer fee. I'm going to briefly explain and hypothesize on ways we could sign the player. Now I'm going to use 3 players in particular as my example, the recent signings of Mbappe, João Felix and Ousmane Dembele. Starting with Mbappe, when he was signed, Paris Saint-Germain initially got him on loan, plus they paid a fee the following season, plus contingency payments. Now I'm going to tell you guys what contingency payments mean, and they're basically the payments made when something triggers it. So for example, triggers could be appearance base, goals per season, etc, etc. And this moves on nicely to the next player that was signed based on the example I gave. That's Ousmane Dembele, and when he was signed at a fixed fee at about 95 million plus contingency payments that were 40% of the transfer value. So this implies that his final potential transfer outlay could go up to 142 million. Absolutely ridiculous. And could this be another example in which we could try to sign Jadon Sancho? And of course, when it comes to the last example in João Felix, Aleti actually paid 6 million more than his release clause, and that was to find a favourable way to pay his fee off in installments. You know, let's not forget Aleti have been trying to balance the books. They've spent big on your Thomas Lemars, your Alvaro Moratas. And there you guys are the 3 examples in which young, exciting, talented, world-class potential talents were signed by their respective clubs. Now, if you do sign Jadon Sancho, you have to think about how you're going to balance the books. I feel like as fans, we don't necessarily think about the financial part, the business part towards football, but it's very important, and I'm going to briefly explain to you why. When clubs make signings these days, they're thinking about the player's annual cost per year, and the calculation to get the transfer cost is the transfer fee paid divided by the contract length offered to the player plus wages per week times by 52 weeks. So depending on how much we spend to sign Jadon Sancho, depending on the contract length, depending on how much money we offer in wages, he could cost the club maybe between 30 million per year, which is a ton of money to invest in such a young player. Now this is going to be something that I'm going to delve into further detail in a future video, so you guys stay tuned for that. But now that ends the first segment, we now move on to the second segment in regards to Samuel Chukwueze, because the Goal.com article does state that if we can't sign Sancho, we are going to turn our attentions to Samuel. Now, I found this news to be really interesting, really unique. You know, Chukwueze does have a very affordable release clause set at around 45 million. He does fill a need in the team, he plays on the right hand side, he has a left foot, he's a bit similar to Arjen Robben, and he likes to cut inside when he plays his football. Now, he's a player that I honestly rate a lot. And I think with the club's current environment, where we have an emphasis on improving and coaching players to make them become the best they possibly can be. And I'm mentioning this point because Samuel, for me, I feel still needs a few more seasons, because if he did sign for us, I don't think he's signing as a first team player. He's going to be a player that's going to have to compete for his spot in the first team. And I'm just thinking sometimes, is competition at such a young age necessarily the best thing? At this stage, it's still about developing your game, honing your craft. But to do that, you need consistency. You need a manager that will play you in your good days and also in your bad days. In my personal opinion, and it's something that I have said before, I think that Samuel should stay with Villarreal maybe for like another year or two to really just fine-tune his game even more. I feel like his attacking numbers need to be a bit higher. You know, for signing him, he needs to have that goal threat, and I don't think he's necessarily developed that part of his game fully. He can, due to his game, due to how he plays, but for him to consistently show that quality, I think he needs a bit more time at Villarreal, because again, you know, I don't like the idea sometimes of just, you know, young players forced into positions where they have to compete every single time just to get a spot in the team. I don't think it works out every single time. Now, to move on to the second story today, I want to speak about Jorginho and the latest developments coming from Juventus. It seems like Juventus still have hopes to get Jorginho and Emerson as well. It seems like Jorginho's agent's wishes are coming true, because reports are stating that Juventus are willing to make official contact to kickstart negotiations. We don't know exactly what day this is going to happen. It seems like both parties are still trying to finalize on the agreed date to start talks, but this is something that is definitely going to happen. Reports say that talks will be centered around Jorginho, however discussions will also be made in regards to Emerson. Juventus are still desperate to involve Pjanic in a possible player swap move to bring down the price for the deal. However, the reality is we aren't interested in signing the player, and also it seems that Pjanic himself isn't really interested in moving to Stamford Bridge. So at this point in time, both parties are at a crossroads. What is the best possible way we can get the best deal from a Jorginho sale? As you guys can see on screen, I'm on Juventus's official website, and just to give you guys a news update, reports emerged suggesting that Juventus were hoping to offer either one of three players in this possible Jorginho exchange. Those three players were Rabiot, the three players were Douglas Costa, and the other one being Bernardeschi. Now, when it comes to Rabiot, straight no. It's a no. We aren't looking to sign any new midfield players. As I said before, you guys, Lampard feels like the team is stocked in this area with the emergence of Billy Gilmour, with the arrival of Loftus-Cheek back in the team too. It's basically like having two additional signings in that midfield area, so that rules him out. Moving on to Bernardeschi, he could be an interesting signing if he was signed on a fourth choice basis. He does have versatility, he is a decent player. However, he's not the most exciting one. And this leaves us with Douglas Costa. Now, we know Douglas Costa has those 5-star skills, very effective passer in the final third, creative passer. He has a very strong attacking game. However, the thing that's just put me off completely from involving him in a deal like this is the player's injury history. Over the past 2 seasons, he's barely played any football. The past 2, injuries after injuries. I feel like it just wouldn't make any sense because we play such an intense style of football in the Premier League that is known to be a very intense league too. So I just don't like the look of any Juventus player. If you were to offer players of some sort in this deal, Paulo Dybala, I'm still not too sure because we've just signed Hakim Ziyech and they kind of play best in that same area, so that rules him out. Moving in midfield, again, we don't need anyone. And I guess in defense, the only player that really stands out to me would be an Alex Sandro. Now, guys like Demiral are really good, however, we don't need another right-footed defender. Sandro, for me, could be the only viable player that could be included in a deal. However, if that was to be the case, I'd assume that they'd have to take both Emerson and Jorginho plus money in return, offering us Alex Sandro as well. So, again, that's the only way I see us doing things. And to be honest, I think the best course of action is for Juventus to just sign Jorginho outright. Maybe we could encourage Juventus to sign Jorginho outright because they're still paying us money for Cuadrado. When it comes to signings, you guys, these deals are paid off in installments over the years. They're like monthly expenses, that's how it works, and maybe we could just cancel them to encourage Juventus to reinvest that money back in permanently signing Jorginho. Because once you amortize Jorginho's costs, he can be sold for 35 million, giving us a profit on the balance books of about 5 million. So it does work out. And come on, Juventus, I know that you have 35 million somewhere. You must have it somewhere. But who knows how these talks might develop, you guys. They could be a lot more creative than we're even thinking about. For example, what if Juventus offered a loan fee for the season and promised to sign him for a guaranteed fixed fee during the following season? For me, if you're planning on selling the player, if he has become expendable, this season is the best season to sell because Jorginho is a very niche player. He plays in a niche role. I feel like we need to find a way to sell Jorginho for the best possible fee. And at that point, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. I hope you guys enjoyed today's News Daily video. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. I'm EFC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll see you guys later with some more videos.